Moving abroad is always a challenge and an adventure. Today we are going to meet Indian women who are living in Hungary for a certain time. The culture and customs are so different from ours, and we're curious how they feel living here. We are going to discuss their experiences and some everyday situations they have to face by being a foreigner. In my opinion, we Hungarians also have responsibility for those who come here to live, to feel themselves more welcomed. If we are open to the other cultures, I'm sure we can learn a lot from each other.
Yeah, I welcome you all to the chat show, which is part of the fourth Bharatiya Samaj Mela, organized by the Bharatiya Samaj of Hungary. Bharatiya Samaj is an organization, Indian organization for the Indians coming to Hungary, as well as for the Indian lovers who loves the Indian culture and the diversified culture of India. Its special, unique characteristics of Bharatiya Samaj is the pan-India characteristics because it connects Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Gujarat to the east, far east. It also, Bharatiya Samaj has given the platform to many upbringing talents and also the Indian lovers to spread the India's diversified culture, to spread its food taste, the colors and various festivals amongst the Hungarians as well as the Indians living here in Hungary. We welcome you all, and we are happy to say that Bharatiya Samaj has made Indians to live in Hungary amongst the Hungarian who love the Indian culture and feel like a home apart from home.
I guess all of you came here without knowing the Hungarian language. Did you try to learn it? And did you have any difficulties?
Once I needed money, so I went to the bank and I was there to withdraw the money, but it was in a Hungarian language, so every time my card was coming out, so without money. So, and by the time we were having a long queue behind me, so somebody came and helped me, and lastly I was able to withdraw the money. When I told this episode to my friends, they were laughing at me that ex-banker is not able to withdraw the money from the ATM.
I started off with TCS but later joined Hungarian companies. I had the mails received in Hungarian, I had the PPTs received in Hungarian, and everything I had to do in Hungarian, which was really a big challenge. But later on, I started learning Hungarian, which has helped me, and quite my colleagues have started learning English, which indeed has helped me a lot in interacting with them itself. So now I'm quite familiar with all the words, and I can buy things in the shops. I can speak with them a bit, at least more than before. And also I can speak with my friends and some of the Hungarian friends as well. So now it's more or less okay for me. But I'm still learning Hungarian.
Okay, as per my experience, when I was in India, I was thinking like, I know the language English, so I can survive anywhere. But when I came to Hungary, it was really hard to buy a simple salt or sugar because you don't know the language.
If the person is not able to speak the language, he calls somebody from the queue, and the younger generation know more of English. So it is easy for them to come and translate on behalf of us. As already mentioned, Hungarians are very friendly, so we have no problem in that. Thanks to Google Translator, the rest gets taken care. The household list is totally made on the basis of a Google Translator. And we learn, as we live, we learn every day a little.
I have a completely different perspective because I came to Hungary 25 years ago, and there was no Google Translator then. And I remember having to speak with the bookkeepers, because I was forced to run a company, and I could not understand profit or loss, and I paid several penalties because of lack of the language of Hungarian, and which is when I made this decision that, buddy, you must learn the language. And I have never regretted it, because now I have some friends who are really good friends. They all speak English, but the conversation and the depth of the conversations that we have speaking Hungarian is completely different. So I encourage everybody to integrate into the system and into the community, because yes, when you get to know the locals and speak their language, your experience will be completely different.
I was lucky that I was surrounded by a lot of people that spoke English, but I was more luckier because he had that awful patience to continuously translate the language. And my mother-in-law doesn't speak a word of English, and so she used to speak loud with acting upon and all that stuff, so which she thinks that I would understand the language, but it helped me a lot too. It took roughly 4.5 years for me to learn this language, to start to speak. And once I started to understand the language, it was a necessity for me, because when I was pregnant with my girl, and I had to go to the hospital, to the local Hungarian hospital, and I had a cesarean. And my daughter was like 4.5 kilograms and 60 centimeters long. So I was losing my blood pressure. I had a headache. My lips were dry. And I had to say all these symptoms while they're cutting down and taking the baby. And the only thing, I could get out of this is because I spoke the language. So this became necessity. And also, when I understood the language, there is an inclusivity among the people. The minute they knew that they don't have to speak English, but you can speak Hungarian, they're extremely welcoming, and they're so happy about it. So which means you're part of the country, part of the culture, part of the language. So this makes you one of them, and I believe that if you decide to live here for more than X number of years at least, it is very good to learn the language. And I'm not a linguistic, but what I understand is this language is the most structured and most beautiful language. I really love it. And now I'm learning this language, my grammar, with my daughter. She goes to 3rd grade. So I'm learning along with her. So language was difficult, but then I guess
How do you find the Hungarian weather? If you find it cooler or warmer?
When there was extreme winter, this time it was not that cold, but last time it was very cold. So we tried to look for recipes that we use in India in the northern regions. We tried to have more of jaggery, a little bit more turmeric in the food, some more pepper. That helped us a lot in heating up the body. And during summers, it's a little very much similar to Indian weather, so we were quite happy during summer season. My husband likes to be outdoor, and most Indians, when they come, they think, as I thought, that if I'll be indoor, I'll be safe, which is very wrong. So if you want to get acclimatized with the climate, you need to get into the climate. You need to come out of the house. So I listened to my husband, and I went out in every kind of weather. That helped me a lot in getting along.
So my experience has been that in the beginning it was very hard to cope. I used to remember walking like this. It was very, very hard. But as Mitali and Tanvi have pointed out, the body gets acclimatized. And one tip I could give to my friends who are watching this film is to really invest in good quality jackets, scarves, sweater socks, and wear the right gear, wear the right shoes, and then you can be outdoors for hours on end and you will actually enjoy it. So I actually enjoy the winter now, and I enjoy the summer as much as I enjoy, and the spring and the fall have its own charm. So it's very beautiful. So I'm very grateful that I don't walk around like this, and I'm very relaxed now.
One advantage in Hungary is the houses are heated up. In Delhi, you do not have this facility. We buy those heaters, different varieties, and keep it wherever we are sitting. It moves along with us, whichever part of the house we are in. So that's a difference here, that you can. It's very comfortable here once you're inside the house. And as you go out, you get used to it. You enjoy the winter, especially the snow, the snowman.
Do you have any experiences with the right-hand traffic here? Any? Because yes, in India it is left-handed.
I did get my driving license from India, but I never started driving until I came to Hungary. So got my license, drove in India, and we had to work actually to get the license in Kerala. So it wasn't like, in some parts of India I have heard that you can easily get a license. So in Geneva, I didn't need it because places were so close by. But when I first moved here, it was like 10 years ago. And I tried to take the bus along with the pram and bring my children to school. But then I said, okay, this will not work because it was taking too long. So then I decided, okay, I'll drive. And driving in Hungary has been surprisingly easy because the drivers are so accommodative. Even more before than now. I find that it's more of a dog-eat-dog world now than it was before. So I could easily actually start driving in Hungary. But the problem is when we go back to India and we have to actually sit in a car with a driver who's driving on the other side of the road, and you automatically do this because you're afraid that someone will come crashing into you, and your leg goes for the brake, the non-existent brake that is not there. So I actually enjoy driving in Hungary.
Driving, I haven't officially started driving here, but as Dhanya said, I have an interesting story. The first time I came to Budapest, I was alone. My family joined later on. So the first time I booked a taxi from the airport to go to my place where I was staying, my first instinct was to get into the driver's seat, and the driver was like, "Oh, you want to drive?"
First, I bought a car, and then I went for a driving license in Hungary. But that was a motivation. So, but like others said, like I had a driving license in India. I drove very little. What people need to know here is if you don't speak the language, when you want to go for driving, then you need to take classes from somebody that speaks English because you need to understand the rules. So it's 30 classes, and then you have like 4 classes that you have to do. Technical, then driving within the area, and then a medical test, and then you have to drive outside on the motorway. However, Budapest have the best transportation. So it's not a must, but if you have children that it's raining, it's snowing, you don't want to push the prams, you just want to put the kids in the back, and you want to take in 5 minutes to extra classes, then every woman knowing how to drive helps a lot.
Right now I'm taking a classes, and I have heard that generally people don't pass the written exam in one test. So you have to again and again give a test to qualify for the written, then you have to go for the practical. So getting a license is very tough here. Driving a car is very easy. I agree with everybody. But getting a license is a tough job. I have a car. I have an international license from India, I have everything. But even then, since penalties are very high, not like India, so really, if I have to pay the penalty to Hungarian government, I will better to buy some gold in that place.
For me, studying the 219 rules, a rule book is there. For me, it was like I'm doing my master's again. So it was very hard for me. And in India, you learn driving first, then you are going to get the license. Here is completely, it's a big project for me.
So I again, as an independent, not having any support of an employer, my children first went to the American school and the British International School, and then when they were 11 and 14, I had a brainwave of sending them to a bilingual school because I felt that it was very important to integrate my kids in the Hungarian system. And it was a torture for them going from private school to public school, where they had to carry their own toilet paper to school in a Ziploc bag, and they would hold my hand and not wanting me to leave. But that was a tough year, but it was, I think, one of the best years. And today, looking back, they are now 28 and 25. They say this was the best decision that you made, that you helped us integrate into the Hungarian system, learn the Hungarian culture, learn the Hungarian language. And my younger one got a job in Washington, D.C. at a leading think tank because of her Hungarian language skills. Thanks to the Hungarian language skills, she was actually picked for the job. So I am very, very happy that both my kids and myself, we speak fluent Hungarian and we have completely integrated into this system.
But in my school, I have seen that children who come from other cultures, it's a lot more difficult for them because of the language. But once they do, they find it really, really easy because of the welcoming nature of the Hungarians once you speak the language. If you would really like to, like your children to experience something that is very similar to India, it makes sense to put them, if not in a Hungarian school, but at least in a bilingual school where they will have a chance to learn the language. Any language is an added advantage, and also a system which is similar to what we are used to. As a teacher, I can say this, that it's best to put them, if not in public schools, at least somewhere that they can integrate with the Hungarians, yes.
And anyway, my husband is Hungarian, so we decided to put the kids in the local schools because we pay for the taxes, we don't have to pay anything, so it makes everything good. And when I spoke to many parents, Indian parents, when their children were in a British school or American school, they said, like, as in curriculum or everything, probably the teaching methods are different. It's not that big a difference that, your kid wouldn't learn in a local school, that something is totally different in the other school. So if you give or take, when they become 10 or 12 years, probably their knowledge is just the same. Maximum, everybody suggested me to go for a bilingual. But then we speak in English at home as well, so my kids can already speak in English, and they have German and other languages in the school. I think it's not such a bad idea to go to a Hungarian school. Again, if you want to stay here for long years, then bilingual is still a good solution. And economically, just go to Hungarian school, so no doubt about it.
System that is in the schools, that is taught to the kids, which I absolutely like, and it's there in most of the schools. That helps the kids to handle in case they are being bullied. So this is one thing I like.
Next topic is about food. What do you eat here? Do you like Hungarian food, or do you try to make real Indian food? Do you miss something, or you can manage with the ingredients you can find here in the shops?
Oh, this is my favorite topic, Foodie. I'm a totally foodie person. And I really miss the street food of India, like golgappas, the bhalle papdi, then momos, then, then we have bhel puris and so many things. So I really miss it here. But I make it a point that since we get all the ingredients here, it's only a thing is you have to cook yourself. In India, you can go out and eat it within 5-10 minutes. But here, if you want to even eat bhel puri, you need to buy the ingredients, that too from the Indian shop. So a lot of problem. Yeah, so the thing is, what we have done, we have made a WhatsApp group of the foodie people and we regularly meet to those people and we cook something of the interest of everyone's choice. So in this way, means difficult task has been made easy here, so that we can enjoy also, we can meet the people and we can have the food of our choice.
Especially the street food, like she said, I miss it a lot. Which even though we try to make it at home, it doesn't taste the same. Back home also, when I used to cook at home, it doesn't taste the same. I have lived in Indore and Mumbai where street food is like, it's like the essence of the city, I would say. So I miss those things, and back home when I go now, I hog and hog and hog.
When I joined the Hungarian company, my CEO, she prompted that we should have a Magic India project where I cooked till 3 a.m. in the morning, 3 items for 50 people in my office. And the next day we had a Magical India project in office, and it was like my boss and my CEO, she wore a sari. And she came and she was testing, okay, it's a food quality testing. So it was really a good experience for me, and they loved it like anything. Later on, definitely for this street food things, as we say that when things are available very easily, we don't value them. In India, we never valued so much. We used to get it anywhere we wanted. But here, definitely, we have to strive. But I must say that my culinary skills has increased after that, because whatever I like, I check it at the YouTube because it's very easy, and I make it at home. And that pays a lot because, you know, that hard work behind it, the taste itself becomes very good.
The most important thing that we have to mention, that which food we like most in Hungary. So that is langosh, of course. And what I did, I used to do, I add langosh with chola, and I can satisfy my craving for chola bhatura.
Living abroad, and I've lived abroad now for 16 years, has made me creative. So substituting those ingredients that you don't find, you actually are resourceful and try and find something else that can go in that place. I do agree that the taste is not the same, but you can satisfy your craving for whatever you want to eat. And I'm a person who's willing to try any new food, like any food, as long as it is vegetarian. So in Hungary, as opposed to in Geneva where I lived before, you do have different venues, you have different restaurants where you can go and where you can find vegetarian food, even vegan food now. So I'm happy with the food situation in Hungary.
What I have substituted when I crave for my tikki da broti or vada pav, as we have in India and in Pune, I use the rantut vegetables with the Hungarian bread, the white bread, with the pista, and I satiate my cravings, and I feel, oh, it's similar, it's okay. So I haven't been to India now for 6 years, and of course I'm listening to all this. I think I'm going to make a trip soon.
Schooling in India is really very good. I really miss that because, you know, maths, if you talk about maths, physics, chemistry, that starts from the class 6 standard only. And my son is 13 years old, so he is facing a problem because he has studied there till class 7th. He has studied there differently. Now he is facing a problem because science is combined here. So that is the reason. If we go back, then he may face some problem to qualify any of the professional examination. But yes, in the same time, we have a very practical kind of experience here. People, the students, we don't get so much of practical experience in India, but here we get a lot of practical experience. So my son really feels very good. And flying back to India is my, like, I always love to visit India. I'm a very frequent flyer to India. Every 2 or 3 months I go there. And within my clock starts as soon as I land in Delhi. So my all the arrangements are there, like to meet the friends, doing the shopping, eating all the food which is not available here. So we try to do all the things in a very short trip only. As soon as it's a time to come back to Budapest, I always feel like then when will be my next trip.
Most of your relatives live in India. Is it possible to have a balanced relationship with them? We also have a huge time difference.
So my experience, coming from India, that too, I'm unmarried, I don't have a family here. So it is really difficult for the parents to send a daughter from India, that to a country where they don't have a relative to take care of her, especially a girl, And that too, it's a difficult choice or difficult decision of mine to accept for them that I chose Europe. And so when I told them that I'm going to Hungary, they said, why? So every time whenever over here also, everybody asks me why you chose Hungary. I said, okay, I have to, every time I make a new excuse or new, I give a new reason. Actually, the thing is, I wanted to live by myself. Actually, the subjects this country was offering, I always wanted to get into Indian Army, but there are some, the process is difficult there. There are few vacancies, and not everyone can, get that chance, or, not everyone is lucky enough to get into Indian Army. So this country was giving me this opportunity not to get into army, but to get education in military academy. So I am studying in a military school here, and of course I'm still working on women in Indian and Hungarian armed forces. Thank you.
With the Hungarian company, where each and everyone is Hungarian and they speak Hungarian, and they try to speak with me as well. So integrating was a tough thing. The first thing I learned from my office is Kedves Mindenki, which we get it every day with the mail. So it was difficult for me, but slowly I started developing the thing that we have to put a foot forward. There were some bitter experiences as well, because initially I felt that Hungarians in my office as well, colleagues and all, they're a bit closed. They don't try to open up a lot. They don't try to pull you up that, okay, come with us, like we have in India. We eat together even during the lunch and all, but here they are closed. But for that I had to put my foot forward as well. I learned some words. I learned how to speak with them. I made jokes with them, and then finally they opened up, because the most wonderful thing which I've experienced is that thanks to my boss, because he always says me, and during the meetings and all, that he praises that the Indian culture of working is very different, and they love it, because they say that we should give this to even the other colleagues as well, because in some term they get a bit depressed that, okay, we don't want to work, or it's done, we are done with 5 hours, 5 in the evening, and we are gone, but we are like working till 8 at night, or even late nights. But to my surprise, some of the colleagues have even taken up that, and we are working as a team.
I have professors actually who take this opportunity to make us understand the history of Hungary, And I would love to mention Dr. Eva. She's working so hard on me, taking me everywhere. Her husband is retired from Hungarian army, and they treat me like the daughter. I'm like, their daughter is like, guys, I am done going out with you guys because I have already seen the places. How about you take her? So every time they want to move around, they want to see new place. They say, Muki, are you free? I'm like, yeah, I'm free. We are going to Eger. We are going to Debrecen, or I don't know if you Nograd. I've been with Bharatiya Samaj of Hungary. Every time, like, we know somebody there. Would you like to join? So I'm like, sure, keep me. My schedule is open for you guys anytime. So they have actually worked on me a lot. I've learned a lot.
I found Hungarian very familiar and very nice because I have exposure to my son's school, and they are very polite. He's going to the bilingual school, but they always help us. If they do the meetings in Hungarians, they used to tell in English after the meeting, so that is not a problem for me. And I observed that they like Indians actually, and their dressing sense, their accessories, especially the bindi. They used to ask from where you get this and how we can get this. So, and they love the Bollywood dancing especially, and samosa for food. If I talk in the aspect of school, I never felt like I never feel like I'm expat, and actually they never let me feel like that.
I have a very interesting story that happened just yesterday at a theater. I bought tickets for a movie, and I put down my bag asking for permission from an old lady and another young lady sitting at a table if I could just put my stuff together because of the winter, the hats, the gloves, the coats, the jackets, the scarves. And the younger lady said, of course, no worries, please do. And the older lady looked at me in a very mean way and said, you are not Hungarian, are you? And it was like a shock. And I've been here 25 years and still I'm surprised that I get shocked. Immediately, at the spur of the moment, I made a decision. Miss Prerna, are you going to get upset at this lady and spoil your day? Or are you going to just be understanding that she is a product of the culture that she has been brought up with? So once we learn to shift that in our minds right away, I would like to make a point here that being so proud of this beautiful, rich culture that I come from, I think I must represent and be the best example of my country.
For me in Hungary has been quite an interesting experience because having lived here for 10 years, it started off being a bit tricky at first because we do resemble gypsies. Once I understood that, it was easier for me. This is what I was about to say. So it does not stem from dislike of the Indians, but it comes from somewhere else. I guess it's also in how we relate with people, how we behave with them. So if you put up a good front with them, then that's what we get back. Yes. So this is a country I've loved living in, and 95% of the time I've had warm experiences from any Hungarian that I've met, including my own school, where I have half of my colleagues are Hungarian. I've never made to feel as if I'm in a foreign country.
What do you do when you are sick? Do you visit a doctor? Which doctor? And are you able to have a nice conversation with him?
I had a very severe injury in October. It was this beginning of spring break, and I had an internal injury. There was blood collected inside me, and I fainted suddenly. And it was Sunday, and the Monday was a national holiday. We have an insurance with a Swiss clinic, I think. We have an insurance here, and it was closed on Sunday. Monday being a holiday, it was again closed. So I was literally saved that day because it was my husband's holiday and he was right there. So he called the hospital. So what happened, I was taken to the hospital. I did not know the language. We were sent a nurse who was communicating in English. And however much I love my language, it's a fact that internationally English is an accepted language. It's a global language. So she helped me through that day. All through that day, she was there with us. My daughter was with her, and she was crying, but she took care of my daughter and me. And the doctor was very good. Even if the language is different, our internal organs are same, emotions are same. I almost fainted, and I think if that was not the day and if those people were not there, I would have not survived, because they immediately said that we want to operate, and the doctor was very good. I think those were the gentlest hands that have ever touched me after my husband. People don't know that, but this is the fact that when our husbands decide to work out of their country, okay, there is a lot of thing that happens with the women. They leave their jobs and they actually work a lot outside. Why? Because in India we are used to helpers. We are used to a family who help us. But here we have to do everything. Starting from the morning, everything we have to do. We exert a lot. We don't eat properly. Even today, like we all are here, most of us might have not had breakfast. So but we cook for our family and we come. So we exert a lot and we don't take care of our health. So that day, I realized, and there were other Hungarian ladies also who were actually getting well very quickly, better than me, because we Indian women don't take care of our health. This is a fact and we must admit it, and we must start taking care of our health. So I took 1 week there. There was one lady, and yes, I don't know if they'll do a research on this, but they must do a research on this fact that many married women go through miscarriages. If they will do this, they'll find out that why does this miscarriage happen? Because this traveling, this pressure, this depression, the climate change, this happens a lot. So the lady next to me was also through one of such phases, and even in the middle of that, she was taking care of my health, and she did not know English. She just spoke in Hungarian, but she helped me. I would like to, request everybody who is here and who is listening that when you move to another country, first, please take precautions. Here it's an extreme weather. Please eat properly according to the weather. Because here the culture is not like eating medicine when you have a headache. You don't get medicines without prescription. So please take care of your health first. Eat food on time. Please don't neglect your health, especially ladies and also men, because here men are also doing women's job. They're cooking food for their wives and families. If we don't take care of us, we'll not be able to do for our family and kids. And insurance is very important, because some people come here for doing PhDs and they make it mandatory for having an insurance. If you don't have an insurance and you fall sick, then it will be a problem if it's a serious injury. But however, yes, here human values are very good. They will first treat you, and then they'll come to the payment part later on.
The next subject is keeping contact with other Indians in Budapest. My special question is, how often do you meet Indians in Budapest? Where and when?
I would like to take this opportunity to thank this Bharatiya Samaj of Hungary for bringing this all women together and asking us to give our opinion or our views of what is it to be living in a country like this, far away from home. So for me, it's a second home right now. And I also would like to talk just a little bit about Bharatiya Samaj of Hungary. This is an organization that's been formed a few years ago by some Indians who were here for a very long time, keeping in mind how to bring all the Indians that come to this country together, how to help them, whatever tax papers or medical services, Indian shops, language, any help you want, then you just don't have to go to only to the Indian embassy, but there are a big community of Indians. And this organization grew year by year. And right now this organization have a lot of people being members of this group. And we also do a lot of cultural activities, starting from Holi to Diwali, Pongal, Onam, Ugadi. So which means like it's bringing all people from different parts of India. So this group is not only for Indians, but it also for Indian lovers. Maybe you're a French or a Hungarian or an American or a British, it doesn't matter. If you want to be part of it, you're most welcome. And I would request all Indians on behalf of the Samaj to take actively part in this group. As long as you're here, we would like your support, and we can meet each other. Children can learn the culture, like people, food lovers can learn different types of food cooking. People can understand the education system. Whatever it is, we would like to have it as a one pit stop for everybody. And we want to make our life much better and easier as long as we live here.
We have this Stipendium Hungariacum page on Facebook. So on that page, we get in contact with a lot of other Indian students. We have some groups. I think we share a common group too. So we meet occasionally, and we have this food events. One of our friend, he organizes. He is like, okay, we can all get together and we can get stuff, like we can prepare something and we can all meet together. Like Rashmi has their own, we have one, and occasionally too on Diwalis, on New Year. And of course, Bharatiya Samaj of Hungary is always there. I have been to Nograd with them, and that was really a good experience. I really enjoyed it, and I think I'm looking forward for more of these events.
We also have a culture center here from the embassy side, where they often organize Indian culture, dance, music, whatever, and lots of Hungarians and Indians meet. So we meet often there too, and we make an effort to meet for every function. Other than the national holiday functions of 15th August and 26th January, we meet for other festivals also. India has many festivals, so we try to make an effort to meet and then celebrate it all together. You have a Hindu temple, you have an ISKCON temple, so we don't let any opportunity go. We make sure that we meet each one, because meeting people and talking people also wards off depression, wards off loneliness, and wards off so many other things. It's also something that keeps you healthy. So it's more important that we meet more often, and we ensure that we do that under different umbrellas. Bharatiya Samaj is there, the embassy is there, then the local groups are there. So we meet often. I think that Budapest is more cosmopolitan, and once you go out of Budapest, you see the more countryside of Hungary and how actual Hungarians are living their life actually. And it's, I think, common for all major cities across the globe, I think. I have been to Visegrad and Tihany, I mean some such places. Food I have tasted some, like the goulash or the langosh or the chimney cake. I know what it's called in Hungarian, but my pronunciation would not be good. Yeah, which I like also. Some things are very good. And the other tradition that I have experienced is the Hungarian folk dance, which I have seen in many places. My daughter goes to an international school, so recently, last week only, they had the Forsong, where they scream to scare away the winter, which was quite an interesting thing to know. That I thought that Indians were the most, the community which celebrated many festivals. But I find Hungarians too celebrate many festivals. Spring has a festival, autumn has a festival, although we are maybe more in number, so it looks large and all. But I feel that is a common factor between Indian and Hungarian culture, that we celebrate, so do Hungarians. So this is the only exposure I had till now, but I hope, and of course the wine. The wine in Hungary is one of the best, I think. And it's only because they don't, I think, produce in that much quantity that it's not available outside of Hungary. But I hope it does get available to more people. And of course, the palinka, it's one of the best drinks. I recommend it to everybody. So, and I hope that I get more exposure to the tradition and culture. And I think it will be a good experience for us.
As I already mentioned, that my supervisor, like Dr. Eva and her husband, they both are like, okay, let's go. So thanks to them, because of them, they made me see a place that is Halako. When we went there, we saw that, okay, a lot of people, a lot of tourists from different countries were there, and almost particularly all the village, they were dressed in the Hungarian costumes, and there were some stalls and they have kept Hungarian costumes, and you can even try. I said, okay, let me try. How do I look in, Hungarian costume? I just asked the lady who displayed her design. Actually, I think she was selling or what, I don't know. She said, how about you try it? Okay, I said, she just put it. She put a one layer. First she put one, then she 2, 3, 4, 5, and 10, 40, I think 15 layers. It took me half an hour to wear the full costume. So, yes, I think I sent you the photograph. And when I was getting, when she was dipping everything on me, I said, my God, there's no Indian dress or any costume that will take that much time to wear. And there was this reporter maybe who was reporting that event or whatever. He came to me, he said, are you Hungarian? I said, do I look Hungarian? Let me know. They said, yeah, maybe. I said, good, that's a compliment to me, because I think I look like a global citizen. Wherever I go, I look like I belong to that place or what. Everybody want to take picture with me. I felt good.
What I love about the place is the way they have used darkness, because in darkness the light shows very well, and that's why the city looks more beautiful at night, especially the bridges and the roads and the buildings. I was very much inspired because of the beauty. I was able to plan out a story, which is an online series called Ek Budapest Aisa Bhi, which I'm trying to work on, and it is about the life of expats, Indian expats living in Budapest. It includes the stories of Indians and also their experiences and photographs of the city and people living in the city. As far as art is concerned, people are very expressive here, and which is expressive in the sense in an uninhibited manner. You find statues, you find paintings, and not just in museums. Not just in museums, they are spread all over. One can understand history by looking at the statues. And the statues are not just of great people, statues are of common people, which instantly makes you connected with the history of their past.
The first thing that I would like us as Indians to learn from Hungarians is the very, very good public transportation here. I wish it could be replicated in India the way it is here. I'm speaking from my heart, it's one of the best in the world, I think, the public transportation here. It's very easily available, very easy to get the information, very easy to board. It's well connected also. The other thing, like she said, I would say that the way they take care of themselves. Not just themselves, take care of even people with special abilities. I have seen them travel alone here in a bus which is equipped to take care of that, which needs to be learned not just by us, but as a whole globe. We need to take that into consideration to be more inclusive of people with special disabilities, which I have seen, and my respect for the country goes up when I see something like that. Then the other thing that I would like to say that I have learned from Hungarians is to be very frank, open and straightforward when they express something. They don't bring emotion into play like we Indians usually do. We take offense quite easily, which they don't. They express themselves in a way which might initially I used to find very offensive and rude, but now I have adjusted to it. and this is the way they are, and which is quite okay. To be honest, it's okay. There's nothing in the heart. It's just the issue they are discussing. It's not something against me, which I think I am finding it difficult to learn, but I am learning. I'm open to learn, and I appreciate that very much.
Is the way they express their art form, and one more thing is the way they take care of their health, especially women, because we don't take care of our health. Here I've seen even the old ladies, grandmothers, they are still fit and they look beautiful. So I'm a little bit inspired that in case if I reach 60 or 80, I will keep a red lipstick, a red nail paint, a good dress, and I want to be fit in that age, like the way like you find here, the old women.
It was a nice experience, and as we come to an end, I would like to thank in Hungarian, as we call it a bye, Visant Latashra, and in my mother tongue, Namaskar and Dhanyabad.
मैं सपना श्रीवास्तव लखनऊ से आपको बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया अदा करना चाहूँगी हमें सुनने के लिए. And in Hungarian, Visant Latashra.
Hope you will at least visit Hungary after you've heard us. It's a very nice place to visit. Bye everybody.
ਧੰਨਵਾਦ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸੁਣਨ ਲਈ ਤੇ
I'm Dhanya from Kerala. Dhanyavad. Nandi Namaskaram.
I come from Bombay and Pune. Namaste from Prerna.
Nandini Doraisamy from Chennai. Nandri, Vanakkam, Visant Latashra.
एक बार तो आना बनता है बुडापेस्ट में. Thank you so much. Namaste.
मैं मिताली गोयल, बॉम्बे, रायपुर, बिलासपुर और जम्मू की तरफ से आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगी कि आप लोगों ने हमें इतने प्यार से सुना. लॉट्स ऑफ लव टू यू. धन्यवाद.
मैं रश्मि सिन्हा दिल्ली से इस शानदार दोपहर के प्रोग्राम के लिए धन्यवाद करती हूँ, दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ. थैंक यू वेरी मच. कोसनाम. जय हिंद. नमस्ते.